Good evening. It is Sunday, December 14th, as we gather here today for the funeral of the Cincinnati Bengals 2025 season. This is the Jake and Joe Bengals postgame show presented by First Star Logistics, where even when the Bengals don't win, and they've been doing a whole lot of not winning, you can. And we'll be giving some stuff away later in the show. We've got that Bengals B metallic wall art for you later today, courtesy of our fantastic partner, First Star Logistics, who continue to be a fantastic partner for Joe and myself, even when the Bengals season ends in December, which is the first time, I think, since 2020 that the Bengals season was over before we got to the end of the calendar year. And that's what we get to talk about today. Welcome to the funeral. He's Joe Goodberry. I'm Jake Liscow. We've got you covered here every week on First Star Logistics on the postgame show. We've also got a midweek show for you where, with the Bengals officially mathematically eliminated from the playoffs now, which they haven't been, like I said, I think since 2020 before the final week of the season. We're going to have some different stuff to talk about this week because the games sure do matter less from a results perspective. There are certainly things that matter in the games, but the results today, pretty disgusting. If you want to win that Bengals metallic B all wall art today, we've got one to give away for you in the YouTube chat. It's hashtag First Star Logistics 1 today for a chance to win. And if you're looking for work, make sure you're checking out firststarlogistics.com, looking for folks to join their brokerage department, one of the fastest growing companies in the Cincinnati area, one of the best companies to work for in the Cincinnati area. Fantastic partner for Joe and myself, and they could be for you as well. Again, firststarlogistics.com for all of the jobs that are available. Joe, this one started out promising, which feels kind of crazy to say in retrospect. The defense getting off the field multiple times early in this game with the first takeaway of the game. But after those first couple of drives of the game, where it felt like they had some answers, Joe Burrow played his worst game in, I want to say, years, especially late in the year. Worst healthy game anyway. And I know a lot of people are mad at Zach, and there will be time to talk about the play calling and the way the offense performed. And it certainly eventually lands at Zach's feet. But I thought Burrow was the primary driver for this thing today. He wasn't seeing it well, wasn't getting them into the right protections, wasn't getting the ball to the right place at the right time, and looked confused by a defense that he's very familiar with and has generally played pretty well against.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty shocking, as a whole there, because in the first couple drives, similar to the defense, the offense was moving the ball. A couple of miscues on key downs. Burrow took a terrible sack to take them out of field goal range. And I was like, okay, that's, maybe that should have been the sign that he and Jamar would just be off a click, and that Burrow in the pass protection today just wouldn't be what it was the last few weeks. And yeah, this is probably his worst December game of his career. I mean, this is the worst at-home loss, I think, in the Zach Taylor era. You get shut out, number one. The season, you get eliminated in this game. It's one of the coldest games in Bengals history. It's a week of a lot of angst after the Joe Burrow situation on his birthday on Wednesday. And, you show up to the game and there's snow in your seat, and, you can't get into the stadium either. So I feel bad for the people that were there. Doesn't sound like they had a lot of fun today. This was a stinker. This was a game that could get people fired, to be honest with you. I know we'll eventually touch on that. We're going to talk about the game first, but just a complete beatdown.
And so much of it is Burrow. And like you said, it's shocking. Like, it's shocking to see Joe Burrow come out and be, the way he's played the last 2 weeks, especially, be unable to decipher the Ravens blitz plan. And you know what? Credit the Ravens for executing and for challenging Joe Burrow in that way 2 weeks after he saw them before. The blitz, incredibly effective for the Ravens in this game when they went to it. They only blitzed Joe 5 times, but it felt like they showed blitz most of the game on passing downs and just dropped out of it, or ran replacement pressures, creepers, whatever you want to call them, where they're sending a guy, dropping somebody out on the other side. And Burrow, when he was blitzed in this game, actually ends up with an explosive play, but that's it. Has a turnover-worthy play, obviously the pick six coming in that spot. 0 big-time throws for Burrow in this game. I thought John Sheeran made a great point on social media today, Joe, when he was talking about the game. The Ravens found explosives. The Bengals didn't. There was a point in the game, and I didn't see what they finished with. I'll try to look now. But there was a point in the game when I was looking before Joe Burrow took a sack, when they converted on a 4th down, I think, to Samaje Perine, and they were averaging 3.6 yards per play, 3.7 yards per play at that point. And that's what it felt like watching. Like these downs going for 2 yards, runs going for 2 to 5 yards, getting into 3rd downs consistently. 3 of 15 on 3rd downs in this game. They were 3 of 5 on 4th downs in this game. And all of that just to get 298 yards of offense, 4.2 yards per play. I mean, this offense really couldn't figure it out today. And the reason, and we'll talk about Zach, I'm sure, but the reason that I think it all happens is because Joe just couldn't figure out where he needed to go with the ball too often. It was exacerbated by penalties. They had some rough penalties. They had some rough drops. Joe Burrow's first interception was at least shared fault, a ball that you expect Jamar Chase to catch, but the cold perhaps affecting the guys trying to catch the ball. Certainly looked like it affected Joe throwing the ball a few times, especially early. It's just really disappointing to see that kind of game from Burrow after the last 2, with the season on the line, after Wednesday. All of those things taken together really, really sucks the air out of things, right? Like in terms of hope for the future and all these things, like, yeah, they could get a new coach in there. They could revitalize this thing, but this was not a good week for the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's punctuated with this performance from Joe Burrow. That makes it tough to swallow.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the lingering stink, as we're trying to collect ourselves after this game and usually talk through it and figure out, we'll get to, there was some positives to talk about, I think, on the defensive side, and we'll get to that. But when Burrow's this bad, you don't have a chance, right? Like we know when he's good, you've got a chance. We've talked about that in plenty of games over the years, even with a flawed roster. When he's bad, you've got no shot. And it's a 24-0 game where the Ravens didn't look interested either. Like they came out of this game and kind of in their own funk. Their offense didn't seem like it knew what it was doing. They're trying to block defensive ends with fullbacks and tight ends and getting killed again. I mean, those are the things that got them beat in the last game as well. So it was shocking to see them come out like that. Lamar really only to make a couple throws all game. There really wasn't much going on for them. It was a very quiet game from the Ravens side. And yet 24-0. I mean, there were drops. Yoshi had that one on the deep ball, but I thought Joe underthrew it. I thought Joe missed that 3rd down double move for Jamar down the middle of the field that the replay showed. He also on the Gesicki 4th down throw, the deep one to start the 3rd quarter. Jamar's open. They tricked him on the coverage, tricked Joe on the coverage, and he got. And that, to have this man, and then Mitch Tinsley that couldn't come down with a circus kind of catch, but one that we've seen him catch at this point and would like to, leads directly to that pick 6 on the next play. I'm just saying, yeah. And Zay Flowers had a very similar drop in the same exact spot. So it is what it is. Things happen. Yeah. But my point is, when Burrow plays like this and looks as confused as he was, didn't have the ball placement it typically does, didn't look comfortable in the pocket either. I thought multiple times he got through every single read and got hit. And I'm just like, dude, the ball's got to come out at some point. And then when he did, I think it was the drive that gave me hope when they got down the field before the pick 6, I think it was. They start that drive, and he's getting the ball out pretty quickly and getting to his checkdowns pretty quickly. And those guys are getting hit immediately. There was a 3-play sequence. Burrow goes 2 for 2 and then scrambles and runs. And they gained, I think, 4 yards total. 2 completions and a scramble run for positive yards, a total of 4 yards on those 3 plays. And I'm just like, there's nothing. I can't wait to watch the film to see if there's just nothing going on down the field or if Burrow really was not seeing it at all. And based on some of the replays, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot more open players than expected, because I tend to blame Zach for a lot of things that happen these games when they happen. But man, Burrow was that bad today.
Yeah, and he's blaming himself in the press conference right now. He opened with, you can't win when your quarterback plays like that. Joe Danneman has a quote where Joe Burrow said, "There's not a team in the NFL who would have won today with me as quarterback." So Joe's being hard on himself. I don't think that he had fun. He called it uncharacteristic mental errors on his end. I think that sack on the 15-yard sack that takes him out of field goal range in the first half is a great example of this, where first he sets the protection wrong, calls a full slide right, And then we can look at this, I guess. And then he doesn't get rid of the ball. So compounded mistakes there. Um, here's the play here as I get it pulled up, uh, where it's just you're going to see Dylan Fairchild leave this B gap defensive tackle Tavius Robinson totally unblocked. And the reason for this is because Joe's setting the protection before the play.
I think it was called Ringo, which
Uh,
means to the right.
I don't know if it was Ringo, but it was definitely a word that starts with R.
Yeah.
And that's telling Dylan Fairchild to slide right, but there's a B gap defender here. So Joe's expecting some sort of rush here that he doesn't get. Dylan Fairchild ends up blocking nobody. The guy that's over Dylan Fairchild has a straight run at Joe Burrow, who tries to bail out of the back of the pocket, which, fine. But when a guy has a straight line at you, you cannot lose these yards here. He tries to do that spin move that he's done. He's evaded sacks this way in the past. Can't take
maybe at a 50-50 rate, to be honest with you. The evading with the backside spin move.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a high rate of success.
Right.
I'm just saying it has worked for him before. He realizes he can't outrun Robinson here. Yeah, just can't take that sack in that spot. Yep. And that starts with the mental mistake of getting the protection wrong. And I'm trying to figure out what he's looking at here. Like, is he
there's no one there, right?
About the Marlon Humphrey blitz because there's nobody else
Maybe
here.
The safety's directly over, and that's what he's thinking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's not. I don't know what he sees here. I was trying to figure it out. Like, there's nothing here that's threatening a safety blitz.
Nope.
If anything, there could be a blitz from this group of corners on the right on the right side of the defense, but he's sliding away from it. Not really sure what Joe Burrow saw there. It was a Roger protection call. Shout out,
thank you,
Max Toscano, for having the and you can hear it on the replay if you go find Max's tweet where he has all these things. But you can see, like, Fairchild and this isn't on Fairchild. You can hear the protection call. Like, maybe Fairchild just needs to override Joe Burrow here, but that's
right.
Not something
and say there's no one coming.
A habit of doing. But this is not the only time of the game they had issues getting into the right protection where they're running the clock down. Joe's trying to communicate protections on the pick six. He's trying to get the protection set right before the snap. And again, Dylan Fairchild ends up with a guy unblocked in that same B gap. And that was a little different. But yeah, Burrow really a lot of mistakes today. And that's tough because he's played great lately. And I do not like being down on Joe Burrow, but it has been a tough week for that guy.
For sure. And, during the game, I was thinking, and I'll probably feel like I'll go back in the film and see a lot of missed plays by Burrow. If he's talking like that afterwards, he's typically right. And you go watch the film, you're like, yeah, when he blames himself, he's right typically. But during the game, I'm thinking, how are we sitting here and I feel like we don't have enough weapons, right? Like that you can, if you're taking away Jamar still ends up with 100+ yards and it still felt like he was taken away. But then Yoshi gets one catch, Kaseki gets one catch, Tanner Hudson gets a couple, Sample gets a couple. I'm like, P. Ryan, I'm just like, Tinsley won. What are we doing? Like, are there no other options in this offense that we feel like we can get a ball to somebody? The Bengals have typically been a pretty good yak team. This was a game where there's none of it. And I actually it made me want to go back and look once this week is over and see where they rank in yak, because I don't feel like this year they have a ton. And that's something I'm going to talk about in the offseason. I think they need to find somebody in the offseason that can help them in that regard.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that slot guy that they haven't had, the gadget kind of slot guy, the Hawkins kind of slot guy that has the wiggle after the catch. I think the offense is exposed in games like this too,
for sure,
because this is where they just don't have the easy buttons or can't find the easy buttons or
can't get into a schemed drive. You know what I mean? Where they're just going to get under center. They're going to run it a couple times, get some play action, get an easy, just get them jump started. And instead they reverted to straight drop back throwing. And I think once they get to that mode, it's a tough situation.
It felt like every single time they're under center in this game, it was a running play. And I don't know that for sure, but I don't recall a single pass out of the under center looks they had today, which can be okay early in the game, but I kept waiting. I kept waiting for okay, they're going to go play action off this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just never did. And that was also a very disappointing thing to see. Tough game for protection, it felt like, but according to PFF, Joe Burrow only pressured on 23% of his dropbacks. I think he invited a lot of that pressure himself. It was another standout game from Amarius Mims. Hopefully, the injury for him isn't too bad. We
Yeah.
saw Cody Ford go in the game and immediately be just absolutely unplayable. It
Yeah.
was my opinion in pass pro at right tackle. So hopefully Amarius is fine and gets back healthy. It was a really nice game for him along the offensive line. And it's been, just for the one quick positive here on offense, for Amarius, at least we're seeing him develop. This is now 5 weeks or so of Amarius Mims playing really good football. Nice to see that progression from him late in season. Otherwise on offense, Samaje P ran it okay early. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like there's really not much else. Jamar made some plays in this game, but also left some plays on the field in this game. So tough day for everyone on the offensive side of the ball. And the defensive side of the ball,
Hopefully Noah Fant's not too injured also too, because he was kind of, when they carried him off, man, he didn't look like he could put much weight on that leg.
he was hopping
Yeah.
and did not return. Yeah, that could be tough I mean, the injuries were crazy. Both teams, a lot of leg injuries in this game. I don't know if
And for
it's,
P. Ryan and BJ Hill to come back too, because they both looked bad. Maybe the cold just makes it hurt a little bit more.
I think that's fair to say. Your muscles are cold. The ground is cold. Probably feels harder. They're still playing on cement out there. On the defensive side of the ball, you can't be too mad at them today. You give up 17 points before the third quarter is over. It's 17-0 at the end of the third quarter. You force the Ravens to kick the ball 4 times. They got 3 punts and a field goal. You have a takeaway. Can't be mad at the defense too much today, but I guess you can still be mad at Geno Stone if you wanted. DJ Turner had a ball hit him in the face mask. A couple plays later, there's a touchdown for
Off
the
of a
Ravens.
tipped ball, I should say, because that is tough at that
Did it
angle.
get tipped?
It did. Yeah, Mark Andrews hit it, and that's why he goes from his hands here to hands wide and hits him right in the face.
I didn't see it get tipped. I watched it a few times. I didn't see it get tipped. I will have to watch it again. There's a play where Joseph Osai, Lamar escapes on this one. It's a scramble. Like I think Lamar's biggest scramble of the day. Joseph Osai gets blocked by Ronnie Stanley, like all the way across the formation. Not a great game for Joseph Osai
versus Stanley. Yeah.
Yeah. But at least there are a couple of highlight plays we can talk about on the defensive side of the ball. We have 2 sacks each for Myles Murphy and for rookie linebacker Demetrius Knight, who on both of the plays where Demetrius Knight had sacks, he took a great line right at the quarterback, great angles on these plays for Demetrius Knight. And I think Lamar is still not 100% Lamar, but regardless, the Bengals got Lamar on the ground 4 times in this game. A couple of them when the Ravens insist with, again, blocking Myles Murphy with players that aren't offensive linemen. Here's a good run stop from him. This is where Myles made back-to-back plays on the Ravens' first drive of the game to help the Bengals defense get off the field. And here again, like Isaiah Likely and the Ravens did this last time and Myles beat him. And twice in this game, Myles Murphy gets these matchups with a tight end and he gets home for sacks on both of them.
Yeah, he also had a stunt inside against Daniel Falele, who he gets pressure on that one. So good for Myles Murphy for sure. It does. I wanted to note during the game, and that's why I was tweeting it, like, hey, these are versus tight ends and fullbacks. It's good. We need to have these plays. Somebody has to beat those guys if you want to protect that way, and the Ravens do often. But it's not the same as beating a tackle around the edge, but still, we need production. He's been good for the second half of the year. So this is a good marker for Myles Murphy going forward. You got to have these plays. You got to have the Demetrius Knight plays as well. He's kind of spying unblocked, but yet you got to look like an athlete. You got to track the guy down and make a play. That's great. Same with Jordan Battle, another young guy. Zay Flowers probably should have caught it, but you still got to capitalize and finish that thing. And he almost dropped it, kept it on his side, and was able to keep it off the ground. So shout out to those guys making plays that are there, even if sometimes the plays are available to be made and they're easy-ish. They need to be made. And the Bengals defense has struggled a lot this year making the play that's there. DJ Turner should have had that interception and probably could have swung the game. Maybe. I don't know if anything would have changed, but could have swung the game.
Could have helped.
Could have helped.
It's probably not a 24-0 shutout. The Ravens score.
They scored a touchdown later on that one.
It was 2 plays later, I think, because there's a penalty play in there. I mean, it was 10-0 at that point. right?
I think so, yeah, because that was a
Yeah.
Zay
I
Flowers
mean,
touchdown.
safe to say that that could have helped if the Bengals offense had been able to dig itself out of a hole. It'll be really interesting, I think, to watch the linebackers on film review, where
Mhm.
Demetrius Knight did contribute those plays as a pass rusher. The PFF grades really good for both linebackers overall in this game. Barrett Carter, I think, with a bit of a lower coverage grade in this one, but there weren't a lot of throws in this game, and it was mostly Zay Flowers. 5 targets for Zay Flowers in this game. The next highest was Mark Andrews with 3. Rasheen Ali had 2. Did want to look at this one Miles Murphy play because I think the broadcast got on Miles for not
Yeah.
peeling on this touchdown. This is really hard. I think this is just a situation where you just get got a little bit as an offense. So the Bengals were showing 0, and this is unfortunately where the replay starts. But the Bengals are showing a 0 pressure. They've got guys on a picket fence here. You've heard me say that before in the secondary, which suggests that everyone is rushing. And what the Bengals have done a lot of lately is they're reading the slide of the protection and they're dropping guys out. And so this is something that I generally like as a rule is where your defensive line, your defensive players can react to what they're seeing from the offense here. And when these guys are accounting for you as a pass rusher, you drop out and you're making them block air essentially. And I don't know if this is handled perfectly because you end up getting the DBs running into offensive linemen anyway, but Miles Murphy's responsibility here is if this running back stays in to block, you try to run through him and get the quarterback. If this running back goes to the flat immediately, you
Gotta
got
go
to
with him.
peel off. You got to match the running back to the flat immediately. And if you just watch a running back here, I mean, it's just a really good job of him of selling the block and then olaying Murphy, who realizes immediately, like,
Yeah, you
oh,
can see his reaction, right?
like, shoot, I hope
Got
that
me.
somebody is behind me here. And Cedric Johnson falling certainly doesn't help. But yeah, I mean, just get got here a little bit as a defense because this is technically Miles' responsibility, but that's a really hard play for him to make with the way Rasheen Ali sells it. It's a good job from him on that play.
Yeah.
And sometimes the other team makes plays that you don't. I think that I ultimately feel that way about the pick 6 Joe Burrow threw to Christian Benford last week, and that's the way I feel about this one too.
Yeah, it's a shame because otherwise I thought a good day for Miles Murphy. He did have the other one where they pitched outside to that way,
Yeah.
and Henry had a big
Yeah, it's
run,
not
which is
perfect, but he's making
right,
plays. So
reminiscent of the previous matchup where that was Keaton Mitchell who took that one down the right side. Yeah, it's not time to bag on the young guys that made plays today because we're in evaluation mode, which means we're going to be looking at a lot of these guys in different lenses. And we have been slightly for a while, and we always are evaluating. But the point is that it becomes, all right, we need the answers. We need to know, is Joseph Osai somebody that should be extended? Is Miles Murphy somebody that should be extended? You got to make a decision on his 5th-year option. It can Chris Jenkins be part of a rotation? Is that somebody worth continuing to develop? Can you just hand the keys to Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight in year 2 at linebacker? And I feel like a lot of you guys are answering these as I'm asking them, but they are the questions to be answered, and there are 3 games to go. And if you are looking for the fun and things other than the wins and losses, the fun is in the evaluation from us. I did think before we get too far, though, or before I forget,
well,
just
let
popped
me
in my
ask
mind.
you a quick question here
All right.
before related to the thing you just said. How much should your evaluation of these guys change in the last 3 games of the season with the Bengals mathematically eliminated and the quality of competition dropping sharply after this week?
Well, that's why it matters how they win. Well, and that's why I pointed out the Miles Murphy things, because it's still important how you win. Like beating a offensive tackle and beating them with a move and getting a clean sack is worth infinitely more than beating a tight end for a sack. It's good. We need it because, I mean, we're talking bare bottom production. Otherwise, we need those production plays as well. But in terms of evaluation, plays are not worth the same. Each sack, each pressure is not worth the same. So it's hard to answer that before I see it. But if we were just talking about this game, I would say that's worth less. Like Murphy's had better games in other games where I thought, man, 6 pressures, the 4 of them are quality, maybe 10 good get-offs on a pass rush. Like that's what I want to see. He didn't get that many opportunities in this game anyway, because the Ravens really just controlled the clock second half. And Jackson probably dropped back straight back, maybe just a handful of times.
Yeah, the Bengals had a handful of true pass set opportunities today. Just looking at the PFF charting here, Miles Murphy led the way with 7 pass rushes in such situations. Chris
Okay.
Jenkins had 6. Cedric Johnson had 4. Joseph Osai had 4. Joseph Osai was hurt in this game. The only guy with 4 or more opportunities in true pass sets in this game, those 4 guys, to have a single pass rush win was Miles Murphy, who had one. TJ Slayton was 1 of 2 in true pass set situations. Barrett Carter was 1 of 1 with wins in true pass set situations. Not a great day overall for the pass rush. So that's the note there. But you wanted to say something else before we got too far from something.
Yeah, it's not on the defensive side. It just popped into my mind as I read a comment. And Aditi Kinkabwala, the sideline reporter, you know how the production team meets with the quarterbacks, typically maybe some coaches. I thought she had some good quotes at the end there that Burrow really, kind of blamed himself for not being available for the 2 years he got injured. And, you can't really be mad when he's not available for the team. He also said he's got opinions on players that could help from outside the league. He's got strong opinions about players that are on the team. He doesn't want to be the scout. He doesn't want to be the GM that's trying to acquire this talent and bring them onto the team. So I thought those comments were interesting in where his perspective is and where he stands as we, bubble to that point of end of the year decisions.
Yeah. I also enjoyed that little tidbit. I got some more Joe Burrow quotes here. We're going to look at the play that ended the Bengals season effectively, the pick 6 as well. But I mean, Burrow, not incorrectly so, but perhaps a little bit over the top with how hard on himself he was in the presser. I think this is one of the worst games I've played. I hold myself to a high standard. Today, I didn't come close. He also said that he doesn't think his play is slipping. He thinks he's been consistently great for years, but he knows today was bad. It's one of the worst games that I've played. I mean, to go with the quote earlier, there's not a quarterback in the league that would have won with the way I played today. And a report here from Charlie Goldsmith that Burrow addressed the team postgame, said it was on him. He is not having a good time right now. And that is hard to see. A couple other things before we get to this play, Joe. Just might brighten some people's day through some schadenfreude. We got the Kansas City Chiefs losing today to the Los Angeles Chargers. They dropped to 6-8.
Yeah.
And how about the Buffalo Bills doing it again?
Come back again.
The Bengals, not the only team to give up huge comebacks to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills end up beating the Patriots when they were down. Was it 24-0 or was it 24-7?
It was 17-7 at one point, and it kind of was a 10-point game for a while, and then the Bills came back.
24-7 at halftime.
What?
And the Bills come back in the second half.
My mistake.
From a 24-7 deficit. So
the Bengals are number 9 right now in Tankathon, if you're wondering where they're supposed to pick. We got a couple games to go that could matter a little bit, but it seems like there's solidly the Athletic does these numbers too as we do playoff odds and scenarios. We'll get that once the end of the day happens, but they're solidly looking like a top 10 pick team.
That head-to-head with Arizona could matter. Arizona is one of the teams that has one more loss, one fewer win than the Bengals, currently slotted to pick 6.
With a better strength of schedule, that could be directly for a playoff spot or a draft slot.
Then that one could be worth a pick or worth a draft slot. All right, let's look at this play. Let's get over our depression. Let's end this funeral. Okay. We'll give some things away. During the week, I see a lot of people in the chat talking about the coaching staff, and we really haven't talked about the coaching staff hardly at all today. We will talk about some of this stuff in the week. Let's make sure we write that down, coaching staff, as if we can forget. But here's a play, Joe. You sent this one to me right before we started recording, and this is what we're talking about, where, again, we're trying to set the protection here with the Ravens showing 1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 5, 6.
And you've got 5 blockers. No, 6 with Brown. That's right.
They do have 6 blockers, and the way this ends up playing out is like we're talking about with the Bengals doing a lot, is the defensive line is going to read what's happening here. This is something that ends up playing out like a stunt, where you end up with an overload on the left side because the Bengals end up with Karras. They're going to end up with Karras blocking no one here, right? Mm-hmm. So based on the way the center goes, Kyle Van Noy, well, look at Van Noy's eyes here, looking at the center. Which way is the center going? Sees that Dylan Fairchild's on him and knows that he can drop out, and there's going to be a conflict here for Orlando Brown and Dylan Fairchild to deal with. And this is a really hard play. This is something that maybe Dylan Fairchild can do in the future. Like maybe a veteran figures this out, but this is a really hard ask for your guard to come off of Kyle Van Noy, who takes those couple steps forward and to get on to the rushing end, who's coming from outside the tackle.
Yeah, this is a tough ask for Fairchild, but you see him stop his feet and then kind of, oh man, Van Noy's not coming, who's a veteran, has been doing this for a long time. So Van Noy really had great timing and depth to get, Fairchild convinced he's coming before he bails out of it. And the thing that bugs me, two other things about this. One, there's no easy answer for Burrow here, and it's to throw across the middle into the blitz, or it ends up only being rushing force. I guess this may not even count as a blitz, Jake, right? Because that ends up being 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't end up being a blitz for PFF, but it's one of those replacement pressure ideas.
It is. So no real answer, but also watch the way Burrow throws this ball, right? Like he's off back foot, like the back foot slips out or something. I don't know what is going. You could take a sack there and you could kick a field goal and make this a 17-3 game, a 2-score game with 8 minutes remaining. It doesn't have to be all or nothing on this play, and he treats it that way. And I'm sure this one kills him as well. They're taking that sack earlier, got him out of field goal range. And then this one here where he doesn't have an answer and kind of panics. Like that is as ugly a body positioning throw as I've ever seen him make.
I'm trying to figure out like what he's thinking he has here, because he is trying to, like, if he can actually plant the back foot, what window, like, because Van Noy is in this window.
Yeah, even if he thinks Van Noy is coming.
Is his accuracy that messed up because he can't get that back foot down? Like, is he trying to fit it back here? Like, that's a tough window too with that with that safety back there. Not a great play for Burrow, who knows he didn't play well in this game. Will need to play much better in the future for this team to have a chance. It's just frustrating because the defense gave you some stops.
Yeah.
Then the game got away from him, and this is not the kind of performance you expect to see from Joe Burrow, especially the way he played the last couple of weeks. Just a rough one. Anything else that you wanted to add here, Joe?
Just because we haven't talked about Taylor, and I don't want to go too far, but I think when you have a game like this where everything kind of sucks, I mean, the defense was at least okay. But on the offensive side, when the defense has a bad day and the offense has a good one, we're like, man, how much can you blame Taylor? It mostly falls on Golden, right? Taylor's job is the offense. When the offense has a day like this, and your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, the centerpiece of all of this, has a day like this, when we are going to place blame on coaches, man, Taylor's going to take it a lot this week, and he should. And this could be the game where the front office, the family goes, maybe we need to create a new spark. Maybe something different has to happen, because you can't have too many days. You can't have too many weeks like this and expect things to be okay.
I don't know how exactly you survive a performance that is this bad at home with your season on the line, division opponent.
Yep.
There's a lot going against you here. But if we're being totally objective and only isolating this game, which is not how it works, but if you're only isolating this game, man, a lot of that's on Burrow today, which does muddy the picture. But like, that's where I think like the elite coaches, the elite offensive coaches are finding adjustments, finding answers, like helping your quarterback out a little bit. And there's just none of that when that's not working for Joe.
We got a comment too here that Jeremy Rao is reporting that fans were yelling at Burrow behind the bench during the second half, got told off by Jamar, which I don't know how many new fans are here and remember the Palmer ending. But we got to be a little bit more aware of what we're doing and how we're trying to handle this situation. And when a player talks and opens up, maybe we don't go crazy. We can't control what the national media does, right? And their reaction and how they're going to take these stories. But as fans, we can kind of control how we're handling this.
Yeah, I think you can't get too wrapped up in what national media is saying. And maybe that's what instigated the comments from the fans. I do see the tweet now. Fans are yelling at Joe Burrow behind the bench. Been all second half. Jamar Chase finally stands up and yells, "Hey, run your bleep home." If they're Bengals fans, don't do that. I don't like to tell people how to be fans, but don't yell at the players that can hear you word for word that play for the team you root for, man. What are you doing?
Right.
That's And I see some of it in our chat too. Like,
I know.
that's rough,
I
man.
think if you're talking bad about Burrow, and if you're talking like get rid of him or he's done, pretty boy, I've seen the comments. I think you're crazy. I think the reason the Bengals have a chance is because of Joe Burrow. The reason they're relevant over the last 5 years is because of Joe Burrow. Don't go crazy because a guy opened up about trying to find alternate ways to feel good about himself rather than the wins and losses being the final stamp on every single game. Pull yourselves together a little bit, fans.
Joe Burrow is the reason that the Bengals can be a contender.
Yeah,
straight up. Like,
but he was terrible today. Not to defend him completely. He was terrible today. We've said that multiple times, but yes.
Two things can be true.
Yep.
And many things are true, including First Star Logistics, keeping it up with some sweet giveaways. We've got that Bengals B wall art for you today. We've got a winner to announce from Twitter, from X. Make sure you're following at First Star Log for all the giveaway details. You'll see that next week you can win those Apple AirPods. And that officially licensed Bengals case looks pretty sweet. A great accessory to have for the Bengals fans out there looking for some new earbuds here this holiday season, maybe saving on that particular item if it was going to be on your list for a last minute Christmas gift. So, or Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate in December. So let's, birthday. We got some, one of my really good friends was born on Christmas Day.
That's fun.
Doesn't sound like a great day to be born.
I believe it's Jordan Battle's birthday while we're on birthday week here for Bengals players. So shout out Jordan Battle with the interception on your birthday.
And this is the first game I think they lost this year with Jordan Battle having an interception.
Interesting.
I think. I didn't confirm that.
It's 4 this year, and I can only remember the Browns, Jags, and this one. What was the other one?
The other game they won, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you might be right about that. Good call. Let's go to the giveaway.
Let's go to the giveaway. Let's see who won our X giveaway. Again, make sure you're following at First Star Log for your chance to win. The winner is Joe.
Greg Hellman. UConn in the background there. Shout out to Greg. First sign. Could be a cool Christmas gift for you.
Really good quality metallic wall art. I think it looks great. I think the shadows look great. I'm excited for you if you win this one. If you win this one and you put it up in your house, this is one of those ones that I want to see where you put it. Like, let me see how you're decorating.
Send the picture, please do.
If you've got this one. I love the pictures. Like, if you have a kid that's excited about something that you win, if you're excited about something that you win, we do love the pictures. Let's get to the giveaway. For those of you still with us in the YouTube chat, again, hashtag First Star Logistics 1 for your last chance to win the Bengals B that will look sweet on your wall. Let's get that giveaway going here for all of you that are with us in the YouTube chat. Yeah, we're doing the same head trick.
JP Dadon?
JP Dadon. Let's go. Congratulations on your win to both winners. Make sure you're checking out the YouTube comments. You'll have instructions there for how to claim your prize. And we'll be back with you here midweek. We'll probably be talking about the coaching staff. We will have watched the film. We will know exactly, or maybe not exactly, we're not in the room, but with much greater accuracy, what happened and why things went so wrong. And there's a lot to talk about with this team that is well short of expectations now for the third straight year. They've had Joe Burrow fully healthy for one of those years, and that
did you see the pop-up they had where they showed the 3 healthy Burrow years and the record in those seasons, and then the years where he hasn't been healthy, the record in those 3 seasons? I thought it was interesting, and I hope the Bengals front office doesn't see that.
What were the records?
It was the 39 and 21, I think it was, in the years he's been healthy. And it's like, and I don't know if that included playoffs or not, but I wanted to double check it and see if it was anything.
We'll talk about it this week. I have thoughts. We're not seeing the dead cat bounce just yet, but there's still 3 weeks for us to talk about that very fun phrase that people love so much. Again, make sure you're following at First Star Log on Twitter for all the giveaway details for next week, and there will be instructions there. Make sure you're with us for the midweek show where we'll talk about all the biggest stories and another matchup for the Bengals for 3 more games of things we're going to be looking for as the Bengals wrap up this season in which they are eliminated from playoff contention with 3 weeks to go. And if you're looking for work in the Cincinnati area, First Star Logistics is a fantastic partner for Joe and myself. They give away awesome stuff for you guys every week. If you're looking for work, you think it might be a good fit for you, check out firststarlogistics.com. They're looking for people for their brokerage department, one of the fastest growing companies in the Cincinnati area, one of the best companies to work for in the Cincinnati area. Again, firststarlogistics.com for all of their job postings. And until next time, thanks for hanging out with us on this episode of the Jake and Joe Bengals postgame show presented by First Star Logistics. And we'll see you on the midweek show, on the preview show next time. Well, hope you have a good rest of your Sunday.
Don't jump.